If you want to build confidence that truly lasts, not just a fleeting boost, but a steady, unshakable foundation, then you need to hear this. Marcus Aurelius, the Emperor of Rome, once asked, "Consider at what price you sell your integrity, but for God's sake, don't sell it cheap." This is not just advice, it's a challenge, a call to live by principle, to act with courage, to become someone you, yourself, can respect. In a world obsessed with appearances, Stoicism brings us back to what really matters: character, clarity, and control. Seneca taught us that it is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult. True confidence isn't found in applause, likes, or achievements. It's found in the quiet moments. When you make the harder choice to keep your word, to face your flaws, to keep going when it's easier to give up. In this video, we'll explore 10 Stoic practices, grounded in timeless wisdom from Marcus Aurelius, that will help you build lasting confidence from the inside out. Let's begin. 1. Practice self-acceptance. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Tend to see what is really there. Not what you fear, not what others say, but the truth of who you are right now." One of the greatest acts of courage in life is learning to accept yourself. Not just your strengths, but your flaws, your mistakes, your scars. So many people wait for perfection. Before they allow themselves to feel worthy, they look in the mirror and only see what's missing, what's broken, what doesn't measure up. But self-confidence doesn't grow in shame. It grows in honesty. It grows when you stop comparing and start appreciating. Epictetus reminded us, "You are a product of your own thinking." If you constantly tell yourself you're not enough, you begin to believe it, and that belief becomes a prison. But here's the truth. You are already whole. You don't need fixing. You need understanding. Yes, there are things you can improve. And yes, you should grow. But none of that can happen until you stop fighting yourself. Imagine a friend comes to you, feeling ashamed, and all you say is, "You're not good enough." Would you ever do that? Yet you say it to yourself every day. Seneca once said, "You are your own master when you gain control of your mind." And self-acceptance is the beginning of that control. So the next time you look in the mirror, don't search for flaws. Search for strength. Look at everything you've survived, everything you've built, everything you've learned. Be proud of how far you've come, and be kind to the person still becoming. Because once you learn to love yourself, not for what you've achieved, but for who you are, confidence stops being a mask and becomes your natural state. 2. Build your character. Personality training. Confidence doesn't start with what you wear, how much money you make, or how others perceive you. It starts with character. Marcus Aurelius said, "Consider at what price you sell your integrity, but please, for God's sake, don't sell it cheap." Your character, your sense of right and wrong, your values, your inner compass, is the foundation of lasting confidence. When you're rooted in integrity, You don't need constant approval. You don't shake when someone doubts you, because, deep down, you know who you are. Think about it. In your darkest moments when you feel lost or uncertain, it's not your resume, your car, or your bank account that saves you. It's your principles, your sense of what's right, and the quiet pride of knowing you did the hard thing, even when no one was watching. Seneca once wrote, "A good character, when established, becomes a natural refuge from every storm." That's confidence earned from within. So, how do you build character? You start by holding yourself accountable, by choosing kindness when it's easier to snap, by doing the right thing, even when it costs you something. You grow by comparing who you are now with who you could become, not out of shame, but out of purpose. And most importantly, you use every challenge as a training ground, an opportunity to become a better human being. Because unlike beauty, wealth, or status, your character can't be taken away. It goes with you everywhere, and it speaks louder than any words ever could. This is where confidence begins, not in pretending to be perfect, but in practicing to be principled. 3. Focus on your thoughts. Master your thoughts. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Not your circumstances, not your achievements, not the opinions of others, but your thoughts. What you choose to believe, what you allow to live in your mind, will shape your entire reality." Many of us walk through life with thoughts that were never truly ours. Old criticisms, childhood labels, voices from the past saying, "You're not smart enough. You're not attractive enough. You'll never succeed." And slowly, those voices become our own. But Stoicism teaches us, you are not your thoughts. You are the observer of them. You can question them, challenge them, replace them. Epictetus said, "It's not things that disturb us, but our judgments about those things. You may believe you're not worthy, but ask yourself, where did that idea come from? Is it truth or just repetition?" Try this. Take a piece of paper, write down the negative thought that's holding you back. Then list every reason it might be wrong. You'll be surprised, because once the light of reason touches a lie, it can't survive. Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." That means much of your fear, your shame, your doubt, it's just smoke in the mind. So if you want real, lasting confidence, you must clean the lens you see yourself through. Speak to yourself like someone worth listening to, not with flattery, but with fairness. You wouldn't plant weeds in a garden and expect flowers. So stop planting doubt and expecting confidence. Choose your thoughts carefully. Nurture them with truth, and your mind will become your strongest ally, not your greatest enemy. 4. Keep your word. Keep your promise. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Live up to it. Make good on your promises. Be what your father hoped for you to be." These words aren't just poetic. They're powerful, because confidence doesn't come from what you say you'll do. It comes from what you actually do. Every time you make a promise to yourself and break it, your self-respect takes a hit. And slowly, you stop trusting your own voice. Think about it. You say you'll wake up early, but you snooze the alarm. You say you'll quit that habit, but you fall back into it again. You say you'll start tomorrow, but tomorrow keeps running away. Now, imagine if a friend did that to you, promised over and over, and never followed through. Would you trust them? Would you feel confident in their word? Of course not. So why treat yourself that way? Seneca once said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more. That is poor." And sometimes what we crave is the illusion of discipline without doing the work. Epictetus taught, "Let your yes be yes, and your no, no." Simple, clear, powerful, because confidence is built in the quiet moments, when no one's watching, when you keep the promise just because you said you would. So next time you say, "I'll do it," mean it. Start with small things. Drink that water. Go on that walk. Finish what you started. Each promise you keep becomes a brick in the foundation of your self-trust. And from that trust, confidence rises. Because when your word means something, you mean something. 5. Take ownership of your actions. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do your job without whining." Simple words, but behind them, a profound truth about confidence. Confidence isn't just about feeling good. It's about standing up and taking ownership of your choices, your actions, your results. When something goes wrong, it's easy to point the finger. The traffic made me late. My boss doesn't see my value. The world's just not fair. But Stoicism teaches us something different. It says you are responsible. Seneca once said, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality." Often, it's not the situation that weakens us. It's the story we tell ourselves about it. The blame, the excuses, the victim mindset. But here's the truth. As long as you blame others, you hand them your power, you surrender your growth, you give away control. Epictetus put it clearly, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When you own your actions fully, something changes inside. You stop waiting, you stop complaining, and you start becoming. You gain clarity, you gain discipline, you gain self-respect. Because suddenly, you're not just living life, you're leading it. And even when things go wrong, you don't collapse. You adjust, you learn, you rise again. That's real confidence. Not in controlling the world, but in mastering yourself. So, today, ask yourself, where have I been blaming others? And how can I take that power back? Because when you take ownership of your life, you don't just change your direction, you change your destiny. 6. Make a plan and stop thinking. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Turn your desire to stone. Quench your appetites. Keep your mind centered on itself." The Stoics understood something we often forget. Thinking is not the same as doing. Planning is not the same as progress. You can have the best ideas in the world, but unless you act on them, they're just daydreams. How often do we say, "I'll start next week. I'm still researching. I'm just not ready yet." But the truth is, we're afraid. Afraid to fail. Afraid to look foolish. Afraid to leave the comfort of the known. So we hide behind endless preparation, endless planning. We talk more than we try. Seneca warned us. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. Confidence doesn't grow from thought. It grows from effort. You want to get in shape. Don't read 20 more articles. Start with a walk. Pick up a weight. Break a sweat. You want to change careers. Stop perfecting the resume. Make one call. Send one email. Take one step. Action silences doubt. Action creates clarity. Action builds momentum. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." It's that simple. Decide, then do. Because while others are waiting for the perfect moment, you're already moving. Confidence doesn't come from being fearless. It comes from taking the first step, even when you're scared. So, stop overthinking. Start acting. Turn your wisdom into movement. And your movement will build the confidence you've been searching for. 7. Remind yourself of death. Remember that you will die. Memento Mori. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do." And say, and think. This idea is called Memento Mori. Remember you will die. To some, it sounds dark, morbid, even frightening. But to the Stoics, it was liberating. Because when you remember your time is limited, you stop wasting it. You stop fearing the wrong things. And you start living with intention. Seneca once said, "Life is long, if you know how to use it." But most of us don't use it. We delay dreams. We hold grudges. We wait for the right time to say what matters, to do what we love, to become who we're meant to be. But there is no perfect time. There is only now. Epictetus reminded us, "Keep death and exile before your eyes each day, and you'll never have a base thought or desire anything in excess." When you live as if today could be your last, you live fully, you speak honestly, you act bravely, you love fiercely. And that kind of presence, that kind of clarity, builds a confidence no one can shake. Because when you stop fearing death, you stop fearing life, you stop fearing failure, you stop fearing judgment. So take a moment, not to panic, but to pause, to breathe, to feel the gift of being here. Let the reminder of your mortality be the spark that brings your purpose to life. Memento Mori, not to fear death, but to awaken the courage to live. 8. Don't speak too much about yourself. Marcus Aurelius once advised, "Accustom yourself to attend carefully to what is said by another, and, as much as possible, try to inhabit the speaker's mind." In other words, listen more, talk less. But how often do we do the opposite? We rush to share our opinions. We dominate conversations. We wait for our turn to speak, instead of truly listening. Why? Because deep down, we think if we don't speak, we'll be forgotten. We think if we don't share our story, no one will see our worth. But the truth is, Talking too much about yourself doesn't build confidence. It often reveals insecurity. Seneca wrote, "No one listens to a boaster." And Epictetus warned, "Nature gave us one tongue and two ears, so we could listen twice as much as we speak." Real strength, real presence, comes from stillness. It comes from curiosity, from stepping outside yourself and entering the world of another. Confidence isn't loud. It doesn't need to prove itself. It simply is. When you choose to listen, you create space. You give others dignity. You earn respect without asking for it. So next time you enter a conversation, pause. Ask more questions. Make less declarations. Instead of trying to impress, try to understand, because those who speak less but mean every word are often the ones who are heard the loudest. 9. Have an evening confidence ritual. Create an evening ritual to nurture confidence. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "These are the characteristics of the rational soul: self-awareness, self-examination, and self-determination." True confidence isn't built in public. It's built in private, in the quiet moments at the end of your day, when no one's watching and the world finally goes silent. The Stoics knew this well. That's why reflection was a daily discipline. Not to dwell on the past, but to learn, to realign, and to grow stronger. So tonight, before you sleep, try this. First, keep a gratitude journal. Write down 3 things, just 3, that you are grateful for today. They don't have to be grand. A kind word, a good meal, a moment of peace. Seneca said, "Nothing is more honorable than a grateful heart." Gratitude rewires the mind. It shifts your focus from what's missing to what's already meaningful, and that shift creates quiet, lasting confidence. Second, review your daily wins, no matter how small. Did you keep your word? Did you speak kindly? Did you resist a bad habit? Celebrate that. Epictetus reminded us, progress is not achieved by chance, but by working on yourself daily. And when you acknowledge your progress, you reinforce it. You remind yourself, I am capable. I am improving. I am becoming. This evening ritual isn't just self-care. It's self-mastery. It's how you end each day with intention, so you can begin the next with direction. So, as the night falls, don't just scroll, distract, or drift. Pause, reflect, refocus, because confidence grows in the space between action and awareness, and when you honor that space, you rise into each new day with quiet power, clarity of mind, and the steady strength of someone who is truly becoming. Shu. Ignore the naysayers. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When another blames you or hates you, go to their soul. Penetrate inside and see what kind of person they are. Because once you see clearly, you'll realize this. Their opinions don't define you. The naysayers will always be there. The critics, the doubters, the ones who say, you're not good enough. You'll never make it. Why even try? But here's the truth. They don't really see you. They see their own fear, their own limits, their own bitterness, projected onto you. Seneca once warned, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you, because you become the voices you allow into your mind. You become the energy you tolerate. And if you surround yourself with constant doubt, don't be surprised when your confidence crumbles." Epictetus said, "If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. You can't control what others say, but you can control what you believe. So here's what to do. When they mock you, keep building. When they doubt you, keep moving. When they laugh, keep rising. Let their noise be background static. Let your actions speak louder than their words. You don't owe them a reaction. You owe yourself peace, because your path isn't theirs to understand. It's yours to walk. So walk it with quiet strength, with a clear heart, with the knowledge that the ones who change the world are always doubted by those too afraid to try. Confidence is not a gift. It's not something you're born with, or something others can give you. It's a practice, a quiet, steady discipline, built from the inside out. The Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, didn't chase applause. They didn't seek validation. They trained their minds. They mastered their emotions. They lived with purpose. And so can you, by building your character, by accepting yourself, by choosing better thoughts, by keeping your word, by acting when it's easier to delay, by taking ownership, by listening more than you speak, by remembering that time is short, by tuning out the noise, and by ending each day with gratitude and reflection. Confidence that lasts isn't loud. It doesn't beg to be seen. It's quiet, grounded, unshakable. So, if you take just one thing from this video, let it be this: you don't have to be perfect. You just have to begin with courage, with clarity, and with commitment to becoming a little stronger each day. Thanks for watching. If this message spoke to you, subscribe for more Stoic wisdom and start building the kind of confidence that no one can take away.